You could be up here, but you're being anchored by that limiting belief down here. If you were free of this, even though you're at this point where you haven't lost the 10 pounds, you haven't had that promotion, you could be at this top point.
Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, let's talk about self-love. There's so many videos out there on how to love others, which I think is amazing, but I also think that there should be just as many videos out there on how to love yourself, if not more, because the person that we're gonna be spending the most amount of time with in our lives, that's gonna be ourselves. So wouldn't you wanna spend that time loving ourselves rather than hating ourselves? And there's so many topics that we can talk about when it comes to self-love, but there's no amount of face masks or words of affirmation that you can tell yourself if you still have this deep-rooted belief that you are unworthy of love as you are. So that is what we're gonna touch on first, that limiting belief and how to reframe that. And I'm also gonna be talking about how to show yourself some love. So if you're already someone who is radiating with self-love, I'll have some tips at the end of the video for you as well. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. All right, first things first. Let's talk about that limiting belief, the one that's setting you back from getting the love that you deserve. The limiting belief that you are unworthy of love as you are, that's what's holding you back. Let's think about it in terms of a scale, where at the very top, this is unconditional self-love, where you accept and love all of yourself. And then on the bottom of the scale, let's call this the belief that you are unworthy of love as you are, rock bottom. But let's say you're somewhere in the middle of the scale, where there's parts of yourself that you really like, but you feel like you're not quite at the point where it's unconditional self-love, but maybe if you lost 10 more pounds or had that next promotion. You see what's happening right here? You could be up here, but you're being anchored by that limiting belief down here that you are unworthy of love as you are. If you were free of this, even though you're at this point where you haven't lost the 10 pounds, you haven't had that promotion, you could be at this top point where you have that unconditional self-love and just accept yourself for all of who you are. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. We're gonna free you, but I can't do this by myself. You're gonna have to put in the work. So let's do this together and let's get yourself to that point where you can essentially just live your best life. Now that we've established we're all in some way being anchored down by that limiting belief that we're not good enough as we are or worthy of love as we are, it's history lesson time. Let's talk about why that exists in the first place, where it comes from. So it could have happened either in childhood or later on in life, but at one point in your life, society or someone made you feel as though you weren't good enough as you are. That's really what it boils down to. If it happened in childhood, it could have been that your parents didn't show you the love and affection that you needed unless you acted a certain way, as say like the good child, or that unless you had the grades that they wanted, they didn't give you that love and affection that you needed. It also could have been later on in life if you had experienced something like that with a partner. Perhaps there was some breadcrumbing in that relationship where you felt like you had to keep proving yourself in order to get your partner's affection. So these are some examples of where it could come from, but it doesn't have to be any of these examples either. You could have had an amazing childhood, you could have had an amazing relationship with your partner, but because of how society is run, we're so driven to perform and we're so driven for an outcome that in order to get that next raise or promotion, you need to prove yourself. Even if you were to look at social media, tabloids, magazines, I mean, it's a lot better now with movements like body acceptance. However, it still has this notion that you need to look a certain way in order to be acceptable and loved as you are. So all of the societal pressure, that also adds on to that limiting belief that you are unworthy of love just as you are. So now that we've established where that comes from, let's talk about how to release it. Okay, I talk about the letting go technique in my previous video, so I'll link that in the description. But essentially, now that we've identified that limiting belief, we need to work up the courage to actually let go of it, because there is always some sort of reason why we hold on to things. Perhaps we hold on to that desire to lose 10 pounds to prove ourselves to the point of unconditional love, because we feel that if we hold on to that aspect that we have to lose 10 pounds in order to be lovable, it'll drive us towards actually losing the 10 pounds. But what if you were just to love yourself as you are and then still choose to lose that 10 pounds? You'll feel so much better in the process. That's the difference between outcome dependence and being just enjoying the process. So first things first, ask yourself if you're really willing to let go of that limiting belief that you are unworthy of love. If it's a 100% yes, then you're ready to let go.
And you guys, letting go can be so easy. It's as simple as no longer identifying with that limiting belief.
Because every belief, it's tied with a bunch of feelings. And then those feelings, they're associated with millions and millions of thoughts.
So if you were to let go of that limiting belief, all those thoughts and all those feelings associated will go with it.
And not focus extra energy on it, it'll just flow through you. And it'll get easier and easier as you allow it to flow through you, because the more you hold on to it, the more you'll fixate on it, and then more thoughts will just sprawl from that original thought. Have you ever experienced that before, where you're thinking about one thing and then you think so intensely on it, and then like 10 more thoughts just sprawl from that one thing? But if you just let it go, it's just gonna pass right through you, so it's not even gonna happen. Okay, and then once you've let go of that limiting belief, we can reframe that limiting belief. You can choose what you believe in. The opposite of you are unworthy of love, though, is that you are worthy of love just as you are. So you can choose to believe that instead. And once you decide to believe that, you're gonna wanna have your thoughts and feelings and everything around you reinforce that belief. So things you can do is tell yourself how much you are worthy of love. This is where words of affirmation is going to help. So after you have let go of that limiting belief, words of affirmations, that's going to be amazing for you. What else? And you can do things to show up for yourself. I talked about in one of my videos how you can use the love languages, but apply that to yourself. So things like acts of service, you can do things to show up for yourself, whether it be making breakfast for yourself every morning, or going to the gym, doing things that you enjoy, face masks perhaps. There's all these various things, quality time, go on dates with yourself. What you want to do is make your mind your best friend. And the way that we can do that is consistently show up for yourself every day, so that you can begin to see that, hey, wow, Judy is really showing up for herself every single day. That really reinforces the belief that she loves herself, and that everything you see around you day to day, then your mind will start picking up different things, be like, oh yeah, that really reinforces the belief that she loves herself. And we're just going to keep adding on to that and adding on to that. But if you do all of this and you still find yourself in a situation where you don't fully love yourself, think about that little girl or that little boy that you used to be. Are they worthy of love? If they are, if that little girl, that little boy is worthy of love, then do everything you can in your power today to show up for them. Give them the love that they needed as a child. And the other thing is, in order to unconditionally love ourselves, that means to love ourselves completely, we have to embrace and accept our shadow side. So what is our shadow side? So we all have aspects of ourselves that we repress. And, you know, it's fine that we don't show this side of ourselves to society for the most part, but if you shun that side of yourselves and if you instill hatred in it, you're in a sense instilling hatred in yourself. Again, you don't have to show that side, but you can learn to accept that that side of you exists. That's part of you. And if you want to even go a step further, you can build some compassion and understand why that side of you exists. So, and you can even appreciate one or two things about that side that you like. To love yourself unconditionally is to love all sides of yourself. Now let's talk about ways that we can show ourselves some love, which will really help reinforce that belief that we are lovable as we are. I love using the 5 love languages and just applying that to myself. And it just really allows me to teach myself how to love myself in all these various forms. So there's acts of service, there's words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, and physical touch. I don't remember in what order I said this, but let's start off with quality time. So with quality time, you can enjoy going on dates with yourself and perhaps grab a meal with yourself without distractions on your phone, because if you're going on a date with somebody else, quality time means completely undisturbed time, like not on the phone, just between you and that person. So just enjoy that time with yourself. Do things that perhaps you haven't done before. Try something new. Acts of service, what you can do there is do things that you enjoy doing, and or do things that will really show yourself that you're actually taking care of yourself. So for me, I like to make breakfast for myself every single morning, and it's become a daily habit. And if you're someone that really enjoys going to the gym, yoga, or something else, keep doing that. Let's see, what else? There is also words of affirmation. Okay, with words of affirmation, I journal. So what I really like to do is I like to write letters from different perspectives. So you can write a letter from your current self to the little version of you. So the little boy or the little girl that you once were. And just write a nice, like, heartfelt letter. And you can also do this from different perspectives too. So from, let's say, your 80-year-old self to your current self, what would you have liked that person to know from that perspective? And you can do it from other perspectives as well. And other things that you can do. Okay, I just had this thought, but why not give yourself a pet name? I mean, we call our significant others by pet names, right? Babe, baby, hubby. Why not give yourself your own pet name? Like, real talk, I call myself baby girl. Like, at this point, when I call myself Judy, I'm like actually surprised. So, you know, why not give yourself a cute pet name? It's affectionate, and if you do it to other people, why not yourself? Okay, gifts. It doesn't have to be anything significant, but you can treat yourself here and there. You want to get that $5 Starbucks drink? Go treat yourself. Yeah, maybe perhaps have like a little like savings jar where you collect funds just to really treat yourself to a gift or to your next travel destination. And lastly, physical touch. How can you apply that to yourself? Okay, so with physical touch, the thing that I do is I go to the gym pretty often, and right after I get off the Stairmaster, I like to just like pat myself like that and be like, good job. That's my physical touch. But you know, you can stretch, you can foam roll. Perhaps when you're in the shower, you might want to give yourself like a nice head massage. So these are all things that you can do to yourself to show yourself some love. Wow, look at you guys, made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much. I just wanted to end things with final remarks. So, most important words you're gonna hear in this entire video. Self-love isn't selfish. Remember that. Okay, now repeat after me. Self-love isn't selfish. Repeat after me. Self-love isn't selfish. Repeat after me. Okay, enough of that. If you enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please share it with your friends, share it with people you know. This really helps me a lot and allows for me to see that these videos are actually helpful. But anyways, yeah, feel free to like, comment, subscribe as well if you wanted to. And I guess until next time, peace.